This is where you get your news without the bias, just the facts. Trump has recently said that he's using the military to take down the Mexico cartels. First, we'll look at the conservative perspective, we'll look at the liberal perspective, and see what's sort of in the middle. So Trump approves military action against Latin American cartels classified as terrorist organizations. Here, according to Fox News, Trump has secretly authorized military force against the drug cartels that he designated by the United States as a terrorist organization. If you remember, once he was inaugurated, within 48 hours, he signed an executive order saying that cartels are now terrorist organizations. The move, reported by New York Times, would give U.S. forces permission to engage the cartels, which traffic drugs like fentanyl across the U.S.-Mexico border. The president is determined to not just dismantle, but to completely destroy Maduro's cartel and obliterate their operations in the Western Hemisphere, according to a White House source. So Trump seems very serious about going after the cartel. So what's the legality of it? What's the response from Mexico? Mexican President Claudia on Friday said the U.S. military would not be entering Mexican territory, following reports that Washington could take action to combat the cartel. So Trump said, hey, we're going to take the U.S. military and we're going to take out the cartel inside of Mexico. Mexican presidents had said, no, you're not. You are not putting U.S. soldiers inside of Mexican territory. This is what she said. It has nothing to do with Mexican territory. It has to do with their country. It does not involve our territory. So she's claiming it has nothing to do with the problem being inside of Mexico. Trump has previously discussed using military force against drug cartels in an effort to stop the flow of drugs and illegal immigrants across the southern border. He has also sanctioned high-ranking members of the Cartel del Noreste, one of the most violent drug trafficking organizations in Mexico and a U.S. designated foreign terrorist organization. So Trump seems very serious about this. In relation to Latin American cartels, the administration has also singled out Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who is wanted by the U.S. On Thursday, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced a $50 million reward for information leading to his arrest. So Trump is really involved right now with Latin America. He's involved with a lot of things all over the globe, but he's really right now involved in Latin America after Maduro, Venezuelan socialist president, and after the drug cartel, including these new potential Mexican raids. Here's Politico, says that Mexico may have to accept U.S. cartel operations. Mexico president says U.S. military strikes against Mexican cartels would be an invasion and that it's off the table. But Mexico may not be able to stop the U.S. should it choose to strike the growing criminal groups. The U.S. could still go ahead and conduct targeted operations to arrest drug lords or airstrikes on suspected drug labs and cartel leaders, even without Mexico's consent. After all, a lack of permission never stopped the U.S. from carrying out drone strikes in the Middle East throughout the global war on terror, or even arresting Mexican cartel leaders on Mexican soil. So really you have this sort of split of opinions that goes on. A lot of the left and further in this article has shown, hey, maybe we shouldn't stick soldiers inside of Mexico without their permission. We'll see what Trump's response is. He hasn't actually seemed to respond since the Mexican president said that she's not going to let him go inside. This could be a negotiating tactic. It could be Trump saying, hey, if you don't fix the fentanyl crisis, if you don't fix these cartel problems, we're going to forcefully go inside your country and take them. A similar comparison would be to a few months ago when Trump said the U.S. is going to occupy Gaza. Well, part of it seemed to be a negotiating tactic, is that the other Arab countries around Gaza weren't willing to govern Gaza. They said, we don't want our hands in Gaza. So what the U.S. did was say, hey, we'll go occupy Gaza. And the other Arab countries don't want the U.S. inside of the Middle East. So they said, no, we'll actually take care of Gaza. We'll come in. This could be a similar thing. Trump saying, hey, if you don't take care of the cartel problem, we're going to come in. We're going to take care of it, trying to force Claudia's hands into making some action with the cartels. The administration has also considerable leverage over Mexico, which could get Mexican President Claudia, who so far has managed to stay on Trump's good side, to rethink her current position. Mexico's economy is deeply tied to the United States, and pushback to Trump's plans could trigger tariffs or other reprisals from Washington. Those consequences might be more politically damaging for Sheinbaum than limited U.S. strikes and force Sheinbaum to at least acquiesce to the U.S. military actions. There are also risks for Trump driving too hard against Sheinbaum. An analyst who focuses on transnational crime warns that military strikes risk shattering the bilateral relationship without actually guaranteeing enough progress toward defeating the cartels. So Trump could make it a lot harder on himself. They could, do something with the relations that they've built so far in terms of the progress they made with the border. Sheinbaum could do more things to counteract Trump's progress as a counteraction. Still, there is a sense in some corners that the two sides will continue working in lockstep regardless of the rhetoric. In quotes, in public, it's one thing, but things are discussed and closely coordinated behind closed doors. The relationship under Trump 2 and Sheinbaum is 100% better than the relationship with the former president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, when he was in office. So that's a very good point. We've seen a lot of time with President Trump that he has done a lot of things publicly, dramatic things publicly, and then we find out later that behind doors, other things were being said. There were negotiation tactics that speaking dramatically in public in itself was a negotiating tactic so that there could be closed door conversations. We'll see what happens in the future in the next few days. Let me know your opinion. Put it in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with a friend. I'll see you next time.